All those things that I used to adore, now they only confuse me. Every time I think about money, the Matrix tries to punish me.
Is he having a mental health crisis?
God's wrath is upon.
They're still your family. You've probably heard that before. In fact, it's the go-to advice when someone hints at family conflict. But what happens when being around your family feels more draining than comforting? When even blood ties feel more like a leash than a lifeline? Well, Hailey Bieber, yes, that Hailey, has just pulled the ultimate celebrity family plot twist. She's cutting off the Baldwins, not just easing away from the occasional awkward holiday dinner. We're talking about a full-blown, I'm not close to my family anymore, revelation. And she's pregnant. Let that sink in. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It is free and help us bring you enjoyable content. And of course, watch till the end. What makes this story even juicier and a little sad? Her dad is going full TikTok preacher mode, telling the world to pray for Hailey and Justin, while her uncle Alec. Well, let's just say if your uncle was literally on trial for an on-set shooting, you'd be reevaluating some things too. This isn't just tabloid fodder. This is real life at the intersection of fame, mental health, and generational baggage. So let's unpack the full story, the drama, the dynamics, the lessons, and somewhere along the way, you might even see a bit of your own family in hers. Let's rewind for a sec. Hailey was born into Hollywood royalty. Her dad, Stephen Baldwin, was a Baldwin brother, not the Baldwin brother, because that title arguably belongs to Alec, but a recognizable face in film. Her uncle Alec? Well, if you've ever seen 30 Rock, you know he's both brilliant and kind of terrifying. As a child, Hailey was carted around red carpets and press events, but also to meet a young Justin Bieber, who her father just knew would be something special. Yep, you heard that right. Her dad literally introduced her to Justin years before they got married. Creepy coincidence? Destiny? Or just intense stage parenting? Despite the glitter, Hailey describes her upbringing as fairly normal. But her version of normal is a unique cocktail of privilege, pressure, and paparazzi. By the time most of her peers were picking out dorm bedding, she was booking modeling gigs in Milan and hunting for her first adult apartment. Not exactly your average 20-something struggle. But with that hustle came a hard truth. Fame doesn't insulate you from loneliness. It might actually amplify it. So the question is, when your life is this public, can anything about family remain private? Let's talk about that post. Back in early 2024, Stephen Baldwin went viral. Not for a new role, not for a political hot take, but for a prayer request. He asked the public to pray for Hailey and Justin, citing hard times and spiritual struggles. Classic boomer energy? Maybe. Or a subtle shot disguised as concern. Either way, Hailey didn't love it. Shortly after, her silence turned into a whisper, then a statement, "I'm not super close with my family at this point in my life." That's a diplomatic bombshell. You don't have to read too far between the lines to know there's more going on here. Did her dad's post cross a boundary? Was she hurt that he used prayer like PR? Did this become a classic case of toxic family dynamics playing out on a global stage? It all begs the question, how do you keep your peace when your relatives won't stop preaching publicly about your personal life? Let's not pretend Alec Baldwin hasn't added fuel to the fire. Between his infamous temper tantrums and the tragic on-set shooting that put him in legal trouble, Alec has been a walking tabloid magnet. If Hailey is trying to live a peaceful life, build a family, focus on her pregnancy, be low-key, associating with Uncle Alec isn't exactly helping the vibes. In fact, this might be more than guilt by association. In Hollywood, your last name is a brand. And Baldwin is starting to feel less like a fashion label and more like a liability. In her own words, Hailey says she's building her own family now. Not just emotionally, legally too. She's Mrs. Bieber. Full stop. No Baldwin hyphen. No daughter of. Just her. And maybe that's what this is really about. shedding a name so you can finally be yourself. You'd think becoming a mother would bring Hailey closer to her parents, right? That's usually how it goes. You start craving the wisdom of your mom, the quiet comfort of your dad's old advice. You want to understand how they did it all, even if you once swore you'd never be like them. But Hailey? She's doubling down on independence. During her W magazine interview, she said she's focused on her own little unit, her, Justin, and the baby. And she's trying to soak up the time before everything changes. Understandable. Those quiet days before a child arrives are sacred. But it also reads a bit like a retreat, like someone who's bracing for the chaos and choosing to close the door on anything that doesn't serve her. Is that selfish? Or just smart? Maybe both. Or maybe Hailey's just doing what every new parent does, redefining home. The weight of generational expectations, the Baldwin name, comes with expectations. Be loud. Be present. Be relevant. Be bold. Be something. But Hailey isn't Alec. She's not Stephen. She's not chasing Oscars or political headlines. She's modeling, running a skincare empire, attending Sunday service with her husband. And maybe, just maybe, she doesn't want her legacy to be inherited. She wants to earn it. This is the part where a lot of us can relate, even if we're not in designer gowns or Vogue spreads. How often do we feel pulled between who we were raised to be and who we're trying to become? How do you rewrite the script when everyone expects you to play your role? Let's be honest. Not all family dynamics are fixable. Some relatives demand access without accountability. Some throw faith at you like it's a weapon. Others use public platforms to process private pain. And then there are the expectations of love, of loyalty, of forgiveness. They're still your family, right? But when that bond becomes a burden, walking away might be the bravest thing you can do. Even if it looks cold. Even if you're pregnant. Even if your last name is Baldwin. Hailey is choosing peace, not perfection. Boundaries, not bitterness. And that's a message a lot of people need to hear. What Hailey's story teaches us about redefining family in the end, this isn't just about Hailey Bieber. It's about every person who's ever loved their family but needed to protect themselves. Every person who's ever grieved the idea of what could have been while building something new from scratch. It's about the hard truth that sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is create space. It's not easy. It's not glamorous. But it's real. And Hailey? She's not hiding it. She's telling the world, with her words, with her silence, with her name change, that she's not playing by old rules anymore. So maybe the question isn't, why did Hailey Bieber cut off her family? Maybe it's, what would it look like for you to choose peace over pressure? Families are messy. They're beautiful and broken and stitched together with love, guilt, history, and holiday traditions. But at some point, we all have to ask ourselves, who am I when I'm not trying to make them proud? And what kind of family do I want to build for myself? Hailey's answer is bold. Yours might be different. That's the beauty of it. Backhand index pointing down, drop your thoughts below. Have you ever had to set boundaries with your family? What did that look like? Let's talk. Let's be real. Let's redefine what family means together.